You know that feeling when you're just drowning in information, endless scrolling, and you just wish someone, anyone, could cut through it all, get to the real insights.
Hmm.
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do here today. Welcome to the deep dive. For this deep dive, our source is really quite contemplative. It's Nature, God's Silent Message by engineer Reuben Juma Onunga.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're basically going to explore how the natural world, the sun, the soil, everything around us isn't just, well, background scenery.
Right.
It's actually a profound system of communication, a way for us to find wisdom, understanding, without a single word being spoken out loud.
That's a big claim.
It is. And get this, the author Onunga, he's an engineer by trade.
Ah, okay.
So he spent years observing nature, reflecting on it, and seeing divine design, spiritual meaning in pretty much every element. That's quite a starting point, isn't it?
It absolutely is. What Anunga does so powerfully, I think, is bridge his engineering background, a world of calculation, precision, design.
Right, logic and structure.
Exactly. He bridges that with this concept of nature as a, quote, living parable.
A living parable.
Yeah. He's suggesting that God's greatest designs, they were crafted way before any human blueprint. And in them, we find these layers of meaning that go far beyond just, structure or function.
Right.
And this, it really poses a big question for us today, doesn't it? In our super fast-paced, screen-obsessed lives, have we maybe forgotten how to listen? How to tune in to that oldest voice?
The most constant one.
The most constant voice of all. So yeah, we're going to dive into his framework. We'll explore specific bits of nature and the silent truths he thinks they proclaim, looking for those unique insights his perspective brings.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start right at the beginning. Creation. Light.
Good place to start.
Onunga points out that light was like the very first divine utterance. He calls it a testimony, a message, a sign. What's his particular take on something as basic as the sun?
Well, it's more than just energy for him. He sees the sun as this profound symbol of divine grace.
Grace. Interesting.
Yeah, he really emphasizes its consistency,
Yeah.
its reliability, its sheer power to warm everyone without discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, every sunrise isn't just a new day starting. It's a fresh reminder that, like the scriptures say, God's compassions are new every morning, shining on the just and the unjust, right?
Impartially.
Exactly. But here's where that engineering mind kind of kicks in. He also links the sun to truth, ultimate truth, a bit like Plato's allegory of the cave.
Ah, okay. Illuminating reality.
Precisely. The sun's light illuminates, it reveals, makes things visible, just like divine truth reveals ultimate reality, stripping away the shadows. It's consistent, unwavering, both warmth and clarity.
That's a really neat connection. Engineering reliability meets spiritual truth. So if the sun speaks of that boundless, unwavering grace,
Yeah.
how does the moon, which feels so different, passive almost, offer a complementary lesson?
Great question. The moon, in Anunga's view, it offers this powerful lesson in reflection.
Reflection, okay.
It doesn't make its own light, right?
Yeah.
It just reflects the sun's brilliance. And this, he argues, mirrors our own spiritual role to reflect divine radiance, especially, he says, during life's darkest seasons. It's about being a conduit, not the source itself.
I like that, the conduit.
And it's not just light. The moon's steady control over tides, over natural cycles, that whispers about divine order.
Okay, order, like predictability.
Not just predictability, but like a meticulously orchestrated system, an intricate, reliable design behind everything. Even the cycles of life, the fullness and emptiness, as he puts it. It's about trusting those unseen rhythms.
Trusting the rhythm. Okay, so the moon reflects light, points to cosmic order. What about fire? Something we use but also fear. How does he handle that duality?
Fire, yeah. For Onunga, it's wild, untamable, and yet profoundly holy.
A paradox.
Totally. And he unpacks this complexity by looking at key biblical moments. Think Moses at the burning bush, right? An encounter with the divine that didn't consume but set apart.
Mm-hmm. The unburnt bush.
Or the pillar of fire guiding the Israelites. Not just light, but this protective, purifying presence.
Protection, purification.
And then Elijah's sacrifice, the fire from heaven, and the Holy Spirit at Pentecost appearing as tongues of fire.
Okay, so it's a recurring divine symbol.
Exactly. But here's the key insight, I think. It's not just that fire refines. It's that divine trials, like fire, are designed to clarify, cleanse, and, importantly, ignite our purpose, not just destroy us.
Ah, so it's constructive, not just destructive.
Precisely. It's a reframe of adversity, like James the Apostle suggests, seeing trials not as punishment, but as transformative, shaping us, not annihilating us.
That's a powerful shift. Trials for clarification. I like that. So given these celestial teachers, the sun, moon, and the power of fire, Anunga then ties it together with day and night. What's the message there?
The rhythm of day and night, for him, it's just a masterclass in balance and sustainability.
Balance. Makes sense.
Day is obvious, right? Light, clarity, energy, purpose. He quotes Jesus. We must work. While it is day, night is coming. It's a call to action.
Get things done.
Yeah. But then night, which we often see as just absence or maybe scary, it teaches trust, stillness, intimacy even.
Intimacy.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, he points to Jacob wrestling through the night, Samuel hearing his call in the quiet darkness, Jesus retreating to pray under the cover of night.
Those key moments happened at night.
Right. And Onunga highlights that God made both day and night. And crucially, while we sleep, Psalm 121 says, "He who watches over you will not slumber."
That's comforting.
It is. So the key takeaway is this rhythm isn't just biological. It's a divine model for a sustainable life. It teaches us to embrace both action and deep, trust-filled rest.
Action and rest. A sustainable rhythm.
Okay, that's a really comforting thought, the unseen watcher. Now, moving from the heavens, let's dive into what Onunga calls the lifeblood of creation, water.
Yes, water.
He describes it as both gentle and overwhelming, simple and profound. How does he unpack those contradictions?
Well, he starts right back at Genesis. Water was there at the genesis of life with the Spirit of God hovering over the waters. So right away, it's significant. Primal.
Exactly. And he uses different kinds of water bodies to teach different but connected lessons.
Okay, like what?
Oceans, for instance. For Onunga, they convey vastness, sure, but also God's sovereignty over chaos. He points to Job, where God basically says, I set the boundaries for the sea.
Right, controlling the chaos.
And the ocean's relentless waves. They aren't just powerful, they reflect what he calls endless grace. Constant, powerful, but ultimately sustaining.
Endless grace. I like that image. What about rivers?
Rivers speak of journey, movement, purpose. They're watering everything in their course. He brings up Ezekiel's vision of that life-giving river from the temple.
Oh yeah, making the desert bloom.
And Jesus' baptism in the Jordan. He frames that as a divine stage for identity, for transition. Rivers are about purposeful flow.
Purposeful flow, okay.
Yeah.
Oceans, rivers, lakes.
Lakes invite stillness, reflection. Reminds us of Psalm 23, right? He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul.
To still waters.
And Onunga makes this beautiful observation that many of Jesus' miracles happened on the Sea of Galilee, suggesting that deep transformations often come in those moments of quiet, of stillness, of contemplation.
So oceans for vastness, rivers for journey, lakes for stillness. It's like a whole spiritual landscape. What about water's more general lessons, philosophically, practically?
Yeah, the insight Onunga draws there is water's, its paradox, its adaptability, but also its strength and gentleness. Something Lao Tzu also talked about, you know?
Right, water wears away rock.
Exactly. It cleanses, it sustains, and yeah, it humbles. It binds us together, too, in this shared dependency. Teaches gratitude.
We all need it.
We all need it. But the peak of his water theology, you could say, is Jesus' offer of living water.
John chapter 4, the woman at the well.
Spot on. Onunga sees this not just as a nice metaphor, but as a promise. An internal spiritual spring that wells up to eternal life. An inexhaustible, self-renewing source inside us. His engineering brain probably loves the efficiency of that.
A self-sustaining spiritual system. Okay, that brings us to another shift. From water, back up to the skies. To what Onunga calls messages in the skies. Let's start with clouds.
Clouds. Yeah, he calls them mysterious and holy features.
Mysterious and holy.
They're often linked with God's presence, right? The pillar of cloud for Israel, the cloud covering Mount Sinai.
God hidden in the cloud.
Exactly. And here's his unique insight. Clouds remind us that not all that is hidden is gone.
Say more about that.
It means God is present even in the obscured seasons of our lives, like Psalm 18 suggests. Just because we can't see the whole picture or figure out his plan
Doesn't mean he's not there.
doesn't mean he's not there, active, sovereign. It's a lesson in trust when things are unclear.
Trust in hidden presence.
Okay.
And rain. That vital thing that feels like a blessing but doesn't always arrive when we want it.
Rain, Onunga emphasizes, teaches about invisible growth.
Invisible growth.
Yeah, it nourishes, it awakens, it turns parched earth into fertile ground. It's a powerful metaphor for God's blessing, his word, like Isaiah 55 says.
The word accomplishing its purpose.
Right, and here's the reminder he gives us. God's timing may not match ours, but his rain never falls in vain.
That's good.
It's about certainty, divine purpose, even when the effects aren't immediate, even when we feel like we're in a drought, the rain will come and it will work.
His rain never falls in vain. That's hopeful, patient. But what about when that rain becomes a storm, something we usually dread?
Storms, for Onunga, definitely have purpose. He points straight to Jesus calming the storm on Galilee.
Peace, be still.
Right. That moment didn't just show power, it revealed divine authority over chaos. And his key insight is this. Storms don't catch God off guard, ever.
Okay, so they're not cosmic accidents.
Not at all. Instead, they can actually become a stage for his most powerful work, designed to strip away our illusions, to humble us, and ultimately to purify us.
Purify through the storm.
Yeah. He uses that great quote from Seneca. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials.
Ah, the polishing analogy.
Exactly. The deep dive here is that these aren't random nature events. Onunga sees them as divinely permitted, maybe even orchestrated, for our growth, for transformation.
That really reframes facing personal storms. Okay, let's shift again to something even more elusive, almost invisible. Wind and air.
Yes, the unseen forces.
Onunga calls wind one of the most mysterious and poetic forces in nature. What's his unique take on its silent power?
This section is really profound, especially thinking about his background. He focuses on the words for wind in Hebrew, Ruach, and Greek, pneuma.
Which also means spirit or breath.
Exactly. He links it right back to Genesis 2, God's breath giving Adam life. Wind symbolizes God's invisible, life-giving power.
Okay, invisible power.
But here's the unique insight. He connects this to how we perceive God's movement, like seeing wind rustle the trees. You don't see the wind itself, right?
No, just its effects.
Precisely. He says we cannot always trace God's movements, but we can witness the changes he brings.
Ah, seeing the results.
Yeah. He mentions Jesus talking to Nicodemus about the Spirit's unseen nature, the mighty rushing wind at Pentecost, but also Elijah hearing God in that still, small voice.
Oh, powerful and quiet.
Right. The engineer, Onunga, is saying, even without a clear blueprint, without seeing the mechanism directly, the impact, the evidence of divine action is undeniable, often in those quiet, subtle shifts.
Discerning the unseen hand through its effects, that's deep. And if wind is unseen power, what about air? That thing we absolutely need but totally ignore.
Air, yeah. Maybe the quietest but most fundamental part of creation. We breathe it every second.
Don't even think about it.
Right. Onunga sees it symbolizing God's quiet constancy, his invisible nearness, his sustaining presence.
Like,
He ties it straight back to the breath of life in Genesis. Every breath we take, he says, is a silent echo of that first divine breath.
wow, that's quite something.
Yeah.
Especially from an engineer.
Isn't it? He argues that air teaches us that the most powerful things, love, peace, wisdom, are often the most unnoticed. It just fills every space.
Like God's spirit filling every willing heart.
Exactly, echoing Psalm 139. But here's the really intimate connection he makes.
Okay.
He describes breathing itself, it's both automatic and voluntary, as the very essence of prayer.
Breathing is prayer.
Yeah, a quiet moment of awareness, of being with God, of inhaling peace and exhaling fear. It's this constant, accessible communion. An engineering of the spirit, almost.
That's beautiful. Personalizing something so universal. Okay, let's ground ourselves now. Look at the solid earth, the life that springs from it, starting with mountains and hills.
Mountains and hills, yeah. For Onunga, they're not just geology. They're sacred places, meeting points between the divine and the earthly.
Meeting points. Like Sinai.
Exactly. Mount Sinai, where the law was given. Jesus' transfiguration on a high mountain. These moments where high places reveal holy moments.
Elevation reveals holiness.
Right. And mountains symbolize endurance, permanence, like Psalm 125 says, as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people. They offer perspective, right? A view from above.
And hills. Are they different?
Hills, being smaller, maybe less dramatic, they teach habitual faithfulness, the daily climb, the steady struggles.
Okay, faithfulness in the everyday.
But then, in a stark reminder, he points to Golgotha, a grim little hill that became the most sacred hill in history. So it's not just about physical height, but elevation of purpose, of presence, of sacrifice.
Monumental encounters and daily steadfastness and ultimate sacrifice. Okay, from the peaks, let's look down at the very ground. Soil, what does this humble stuff teach?
Soil, for Onunga, is full of paradox. First, humility. He reminds us Genesis 2, we're formed from dust of the ground.
And back to dust we go.
Genesis 3, to dust you shall return. That grounds us, reminds us we're finite, but then immediately he flips it. Soil is also miraculous potential.
Potential. How?
It's where seeds have to die to bear fruit, right?
Yeah.
John 12. That mirrors how God redeems what seems broken or dead.
Okay, death leading to life.
Yeah. And the parable of the sower, Matthew 13, that highlights how vital it is to tend our inner soil for spiritual growth.
The condition of the heart.
Exactly. Onunga's unique emphasis here is that soil teaches patience, yes, but also, maybe most strikingly, that death is not the end. It is the doorway to fruitfulness.
Wow. Death as a doorway.
It's a complete rethink of endings. Very hopeful.
Hopeful indeed. Cycles, transformation, even from decay.
Yeah.
And from that fertile soil, plants, the quietest yet most eloquent voices. How do they testify?
Plants, yeah. Onunga notes scripture starts and ends in gardens, right? Eden and the tree of life in Revelation.
Bookended by gardens.
Nice. Jesus used the vine and branches metaphor, John 15, showing that intimate connection, dependence.
Abiding in the vine.
Right. But Onunga's engineering eye sees deeper lessons, too. Plants teach seasons, Ecclesiastes 3, reminding us about growth, dormancy, renewal.
Natural cycles.
They teach fruitfulness, and importantly, fruitfulness for others, Matthew 7. He points to roots are hidden private disciplines. And pruning, John 15 again, needed for more growth.
Pruning hurts, but helps.
Exactly. And just the sheer power of small beginnings. An acorn becoming a mighty oak. That's a constant, silent lesson in potential. For Onunga, plants aren't passive. They're active teachers of spiritual principles, from seed to forest.
Incredible wisdom in silent observers.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, the living testimonies of animals. What unique lessons do they bring for Onunga?
The sheer diversity of animals, it just offers this huge spectrum of lessons. He points to the obvious ones, the ants industry from Proverbs.
Go to the ant, you sluggard.
Yeah. The eagle's strength and perspective from Isaiah, the lion's boldness, Revelation, but also God's care for the tiny sparrow, Luke 12, reminds us of divine attention to detail.
Nothing is overlooked.
Right. But beyond individuals, Onunga emphasizes community in animals. Geese flying in formation, wolf packs, elephant herds. They show social structure, cooperation.
This is community.
And they just embody God's boundless creativity. Think butterfly wings, a nightingale's song, pure artistry. And what's really interesting is he finds lessons even in animals we might fear, like the serpent's shrewdness, or dismiss, like the donkey's humility.
Even the lowly animals teach us.
Exactly. He concludes that animals live honestly, instinctively. It echoes C.S. Lewis's idea of Eden-like purity. They call us back to simplicity, living aligned with our true nature and purpose. A living sermon on authenticity.
Wow. We really covered some ground. From the sun to the soil, wind to water, plants and animals. Following Engineer Onunga's insights, what we found is, well, nature is constantly speaking.
A silent sermon.
A silent sermon, a living parable, written without words, but never, ever without meaning. So what does this mean for you listening right now?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
It means that even in the middle of our hectic modern lives, these messages, they're always there, waiting. We just need to slow down, step outside maybe, and really open our eyes, open our hearts.
And this deep dive into Onunga's work, it really connects beautifully with what theologians call general revelation. It's not a new idea, but his synthesis feels fresh.
Great. God revealing himself through creation.
Exactly. Like David said in Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. And Paul, in Romans 1, says God's invisible qualities, his power, his divine nature, they've been clearly seen, understood from what he's made.
It's undeniable, really.
It's a daily invitation to awe. The sun calls you to rise with hope. The moon reflect divine light. Water flow with grace. The wind asks you, yield to God's spirit. Soil, grow in humility. Plants, trust the seasons. Animals, live with integrity, day and night. Honor those divine rhythms.
It's a whole chorus of calls to action, really. So if Onunga shows us so clearly how nature speaks God's message to us, here's something to think about. What silent message are we sending back?
Ooh, interesting question.
As stewards, as inhabitants of this incredible creation, what message do our daily actions, our choices, our level of attention send back to nature? And ultimately back to its creator? How might intentionally listening to nature every day reshape not just our inner lives, but our actual impact on the world around us? Something to ponder maybe on your next walk outside.